Okay.
Welcome to the Communications Center.
Woohoo! Good job, guys. Good job.
Okay. Welcome to the Fairfield Shellfish Commission meeting on July 15th, 2026 at 7:27. Present are Laura Lawler, Bruce Kiesner, Joe Quaichi, and Kendall Wingate. Now, I'd like to approve the draft minutes from the meeting of June 10th. Any comments on that? Okay.
No comment.
No.
I have comments.
Oh.
On section 4 under old business, where it talks about alternate commissioners, it should be alternate in the singular commissioners. It should be an alternate can attend, an alternate attends meetings and participates in discussion, but cannot vote unless there is not a quorum and is appointed by the chair. They can apply to become regular commissioners if there's an opening. That's what the change is. Just to clarify for the listener. And then in section 5 under new business, down section 3 under the clam clinic, talking about chowder, Bruce Kiefer and Joe Quaichi will take care of the chowder. They will make it. So that, those are all of my changes to minutes for June 10th. Any other changes, additions?
Nothing additional from me.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 10th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as revised by the additions you made.
Second? All
Yes,
in favor?
aye.
Yes, aye, all right.
Okay. Moving right along. Committee reports, clam relay and planting, we will get into that under the new business. Water and habitat quality, in June, we were open 23 days and closed 7 due to a rain event. And year to date, we have been closed for 33. For permits and access, Laura, can you report on permits and access?
Sure. We issued 216 recreational permits. We collected a total of $4,870. 114 are residents and 88 are seniors. 14 are non-residents. All of them were received online, none by mail and none at the clinic. And that's surprising.
Well, we weren't really set up to.
You weren't taking applications.
No, and we didn't.
And so you'll get some in, maybe online.
We definitely had people asking. They did want to buy their permits, and so we directed them to the QR code.
Okay, so it would be interesting to see how many came in after. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, well, I don't have the actual timing on it.
Yeah.
We had sold 216. I can't,
As of
the end of June, which would include the clinic. I don't know year on year how that stands. I would have to go back to the minutes for June to see what we did. But last year we sold 350, so we're not exactly where we want to be.
So you're not ahead.
You know,
When I approved those, we had 161 as of the end of May of this year. So, was it 40-something
got a big one. Yeah.
during the month of June? So whether those are all after the clinic or not, but we did get a big bump in new ones in June.
And it might be mentioned, I mean, not to be mentioned, as an explanation, it may, the fact that it was a very cold spring, which did discourage people, and then we were closed because we did the relay, and then it was really, really hot. All that said, I think that we have a good story to tell, which I think we're going to promote aggressively on Instagram, aggressively on, I don't know the status, but Tim is working on getting a Facebook page set up. I want to get down, I want to put pictures on the website for conservation on shellfish that basically says, we've got clams, come and get them, and showing pictures. We harvested close to 100 bushels of clams, which is about 45,000 clams. And then we harvested them, and then we put them out on Basco Beach. So they're there. And so we need to promote the fact that there are an awful lot of clams. And the people that were there at the clinic got a lot of clams.
Yeah.
I mean, in large numbers.
Oh, good.
I mean, they were all for free, but if they were paying for clams in the store,
Yeah.
they got $25 worth of clams, many of them. So we need to promote that.
I did,
I'm
sorry, I did,
I'm sorry, Kat, I just wanted to note that the beds have been closed the last week because of the rain.
3 inches of rain.
So I don't know when they're going to open, but they've been closed since last Wednesday, I think. So
There's an automatic closure for 7 days.
7 days, okay.
After when there's more than an inch and a half of rain in 24 hours a week. That's quite so,
We should look at, I know it's going to rain this weekend.
but it's not going to, it won't be,
The 2 inches.
the likelihood that we open up,
Next week.
later this week is quite high.
Oh, okay.
I did see that Stratford and one other beaches are closed currently due to water quality, and I know Westport was last week also, so I think that's got people spooked. But just real quickly, I did follow up the next day after the clam clinic. I had emailed Tim, and Alexandra emailed me back and said, Tim forwarded your follow-up questions to the clam clinic. Clam permits sold, 7 permits were sold post-clinic. And then I asked about the merchandise because Joe and I had done the inventory to see how much of each item we sold. She said that they did not track those as they sold them, but they collected $390 in cash and check for apparel.
Okay, I have something to add to that shortly because it was, let's keep moving along, but I think we all agree that, we need to work on permits and through a variety of ways. We've got a good story to tell. Oyster bed development, talk a little bit about that because we've done a new business. Communications, Kendra, how does it look getting a newsletter out?
So the newsletter I have nearly finished. I will send the rough draft tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure that none of you had any specific bullet points that you wanted me to add. If so, if you could email those to me, and I will include those, and then I'll send you the mock this week. It's finished. I just wanted to wait for the meeting to see if you had anything critical.
I'm going to send you some pictures of the clams that we harvested for the relay and show that we displayed them. We sprayed them. It's really how they sprayed them. Huge cans. We spread them out over in Tesco Beach. And the message is, the clams are there, come and get them, type.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I love that.
And you also know what we did with the spat collectors. You've got pictures about that.
Yes.
I think a lot of the stuff that we're doing doesn't relate directly to permit holders, but as we move along in this conversation and during the meeting, it has huge significances to the support that we get, which I'll talk about later. But our efforts over the last 10 or 15 years have been profound in Ash Creek, and that hasn't gone unnoticed, and this made a huge difference in terms of support. Upwellers, we'll be talking about that a little bit later.
Well, for communications, can I, is this where I should tell you this? Yeah. So for the Instagram, we have consistently had over 10,000 viewers watching on our dashboard every 30 days. We had 10.4 thousand people viewing our Instagram after the clinic. We now have 1,012 followers. And so we also have people sharing. So an example is today I post a photo, a coloring picture for children to print in color. And the town of Fairfield actually shared it, and the Southport Globe shared it, and then one other outlet shared it. And so it's an oyster farming spot that saw it, shared it. So 3 people just today on that one post shared it, including the town of Fairfield. So that's also a good way for people in the town to see it. They don't have to just go to our Instagram. They can go to multiple different outlets or are kind enough to share. So I thought that was great.
I think that's terrific. I think what we need to do is, I will talk to Tim tomorrow. We need to find out when we're going to get our Facebook page set up and link that to the Instagram, because
yes.
Because the Instagram is nice, but I don't know where the people are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Instagram is not quite as.
Do they know? Because everyone knows that I learned this from the Sasquatch. It's just a toggle on Instagram that says, please share on Facebook too. It's just a toggle.
Yes.
And we worked on it for months, but we figured out it was so easy once we logged in.
Well, this is why we need to get the Facebook page set up.
We just need someone, we need it set up to take it, but you need someone techie, more techie than me, but.
No, and that, Tim has been assigned that task.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tim mentioned in the last, I believe, meeting that he would do that, but the other reason I have not done that is I need to get in touch with, I need Tim to let me know as well, because I need to start a new email address, because I can't use the same one because it's saying that it's an existing account. So I can't create a town email address without him giving it to me. So I have not forgotten Facebook. I'm on that as well. And then also there was a link when you go on to our Instagram page, the very first link, it said fairfieldconnecticut.org/Shellfish Commission. And when you tapped it, it was just blank and not found. So I did correct that as well.
Oh, good. Good.
So that's all set and brings you directly. One brings you directly to our website, and the other brings you directly to the permit purchasing So those two links are right on our dashboard.
I think that once we get this set up with Tim, and it resides, through the town, then, rather than through members of the Shellfish Commission, then there's
Correct.
repository, so we don't know, oh, so-and-so moved, we don't know what the password
Right.
is. So we get,
Yes.
we get stuck down this rabbit hole.
But is there any way you can do it this summer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to, I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
And I'm sure there is a way to link them, Laura, to your point, because every time I post something on the town's Shellfish Commission, I can't remember who set it up for me when I started, but it posts on my personal Facebook account.
I know.
So,
well, Instagram bought Facebook, right? Or made it.
right.
And we just have to have a Facebook ready that's not the town or for the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the town has a lot of expertise in this media stuff, and so we need to lean on them to help us get it right.
Come get the clams, come get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and make it sort of ubiquitous so that you're seeing it, when you go over Parks and Rec, and my idea is to take some of these things with a couple of captions. I don't know whether it's worth it, but have these on these, maybe
on the bulletin
board, well, not on the bulletin board, actually right on the counter, because when you go to the gym there, right, you're looking at the counter, and you talk to the gals there, or the folks that run the counter, and I've talked to them, and they're really interested. And so if you tell them sort of what we're doing, and you have a picture, it creates interest. Like, wow, what is that? How many clams? How many jelly beans in the jar? How many clams in the pile? I mean, this kind of thing, and it's not really fair because Joe and I were there for the day, and it's what these guys do. It's a huge amount of work. I mean, we were there at 6:45 in the morning, and we got done at close to 3 or 4. And they do this 6 days a week, year round. I mean, these guys work really, really hard.
So there are lots of clams left, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but if we put some of this down there, and we have some of it on a couple of these, the same thing at the conservation desk, so that they don't have to explain anything, but it's a talking point. Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Also, Kendra, have you've done this before, like an Instagram reel?
Yes.
So did you do a reel showing after the clinic, maybe, or no yet?
Yeah, we could do a reel, and also just so everyone knows, I do tag when I post. It's called tag, and I post the town of Fairfield, and I post Tim's office, and I post the rec department, and those, just so that all they have to, so then they'll see that I'm asking them to share it, because that's how it works so broadly with Instagram, that every single outlet can easily put it onto their Instagram and Facebook if they have it. So just so you know, I do tag every other outlet in town, so it's asking them to please share it.
I also share with certain people like Southport Globe. There's another Southport Connect Fairfield, Debbie O'Keefe.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So
and the Globe's been phenomenal. He picks up every one.
The Globe? Oh, what's his name? Eric?
Eric Sullivan?
Yeah. Eric posts everything. And then, so there's another one around Southport. There's a couple of Southport ones, but I know that's from Fairfield technically, but I find some of the people who are connected.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I think we got some good ideas on Instagram, on Facebook. I'll work with Tim to get us, online with Facebook. We've been talking about it. Talking doesn't help. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Upwellers, that's to be discussed a little bit later, but we've got a lot of ideas there. For the Conservation Department, shellfish balance as of June 30th was $33,960.49. There were 216 permits sold. We were closed 7 days in June, and there's no change in the Shellfish Commission budget status. And in June, we had 2.08 inches of rain, which is what triggered that shutdown. Not the one that would.
Is that above average?
No, we're probably about 7 inches behind year to date.
Okay.
We're way low. Old business, commercial shellfish regulations, no report. Alternate commissioners, we don't have any reports at the moment. The newsletter, we discussed that. Junior commissioners, we're working that indirectly through the scouts. Mill River wetlands, that will be commencing in September, which isn't here yet, but will be. And that will be all the 7th graders in the town of Fairfield. Relay and market buys, we don't have any imminently. Moving into new business.
Do we anticipate having one, especially since we have so many? Like last year, did we do 2 relays or 2?
Well, we won't do another relay.
Mm-hmm.
We will do probably a market buy, depending upon, our permit sales, because we've got a lot of clams out there and not a lot of clammers.
Okay.
The nice thing about a market buy is that we buy the clams, from Gary Salsey, we truck them over, we put them in a boat, and throw them in the water, but you don't have to be closed or anything. You just.
And we can do it quick. What I'm thinking of, Bruce, is that our next meeting is August. And so to me, if by the time we get into September, I don't think we'd be doing another, either a market buy or a...
Well, we might, I'll talk to John about it. We could vote to do a market buy for, say, $1,500 now.
Okay.
So why don't you make the proposal?
To have the potential to do another market buy, with the idea that we'll revisit it at our August meeting and decide if we need it.
Yeah.
I mean, now, as we just mentioned, we just had the we call the place closed for a week. So we still have a lot of clams out there. And if the idea is that with a market buy, we only need a couple of day notice to Gary, right, then maybe by August we could decide at our August 12th meeting to contact Gary, and we can be out there in a week.
Yeah, and Gary doesn't do it. That's our, Gary, well, the market buy, the way that it works is that we send a truck over there, you get the clams, which are iced, they get brought down to Yacht Yard or that's probably the closest place. And
right. Okay.
Then they get put on a boat, which I don't know
which we don't have access to, right?
Well, I don't know whether or not the harbor master would be amenable to that. But in any case, then all you do is drive over to Fasco Beach and you toss it in the water.
Okay. I guess the point I was making is that as far as lead time for a market buy, we don't need that much. So perhaps maybe in August we may want to revisit that.
Yeah, we could my sense is that the biggest lead time will be the logistics at our end of picking the clams up, putting them in the water.
Okay.
The other thing is, can I just, while we're on that, can we also in the future discuss a possible fall, like September or October clam clinic? Because I think, and we can, say that they have to have permits, or we can discuss the details, but June is an incredibly busy time. I think it's a really tricky time for people to give up a day with all the there's graduations from elementary, middle, high school, college, end of year things, end of year sports. I have 5 children. I could not go to a clam clinic if it was in June. But in the fall, I think it's a beautiful time, and I think it's a little less congested. So maybe vote on that.
We've talked about it. The likelihood that we would do it as free, in other words, it would be, we talked about doing it for oysters, which means we have to go out and buy oysters and plant the oysters, because there aren't a lot of them there. We talked about doing that in the fall. The clam clinic, we have not failed, regardless of the weather, to get a good turnout for the clam clinic. We had a very good turnout, I think, for this year's clam clinic. Last year's clam clinic, the weather was borderline wretched, and we got a lot of people. So, we've an awful lot of people come there. I understand what you're saying about there being a lot of competition for people's time, but we get, a couple of hundred people there.
You were pleased with the turnout.
Yeah, and the fall.
We couldn't get any more people there because the lot was closed.
So my question is, I wasn't there and I apologize, but how can we get more? I personally signed up for my permit there 10 years ago, right? And I was really impressed with the price. And I did it. I had no idea you even needed a permit, so that was great. How can we make it easier to actually sign up there?
Well,
and convert it.
I
think diverting people via the QR code is very simple. I think it's okay.
You had that?
No, we had that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I didn't realize.
And as you pointed out when we read the permit numbers,
it says 0.
Virtually all of them, not virtually all of them, but a vast majority now are done online. So you don't have to be at Pasco Beach on June whatever, within a 3-hour window. You can do it at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night,
I know.
From your house.
But it's fun, people are excited, and I think that's the key reason for the event, isn't it? Besides education.
Well, yeah, it's to create awareness.
Yeah.
Our ad in the Rec magazine is that shellfishing is fun.
Yeah.
And, I went out there and I talked to several groups that were out there. I saw one woman, why is she here? Because she was really close to shore, and I know where we put the clams. And I thought, oh man, she's going to have a lousy time. And she was down on her hands and knees with her kids. Oh, we found a gold mine. And she was happy. I talked to 2 other dads who each had 2 kids with them. They were having a blast. So they wanted to do it. It was, and when you got little kids, you don't need a permit for them. So dad can get a permit, and then the kids can. And they really have fun. Maybe we should sort of explain where they might be able to get rakes. That's the only thing.
The only thing I was thinking of was the communications. You're talking about Instagram, Facebook, and maybe this newsletter. So maybe the idea is just to remind people to get a permit.
Yeah.
I mean, is the newsletter going to come out in a month, Kendra? What was your time frame for the newsletter?
I mean, I think, within this week, we should send it out.
Within a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And we can
But
put
maybe
the QR
we
code
better off, I'm just thinking with Instagram and with Facebook, well, I guess Facebook, we don't have that. Is there some way we could just push it and just remind people to get a permit?
Absolutely will. Perfect.
That's what we should, because that way you're telling people now, they may, I'm just saying, okay, the plan.
I would go with the reel, maybe, when you post a reel, like it was so much fun, and hey, there's plenty of clams out there, here's where you
get and sign up for a permit.
Sign up now.
Yeah.
The clams are waiting.
And the newsletter, just like we had the new QR code there that you could scan with your phone, they'll get the newsletter and they can do the same thing. And it really is painless.
Yeah.
It's painless. Yeah. I also,
in July, if the newsletter comes out August 15th, I'm sorry, I'm of the view that when fall comes, people forget about the seashore and start worrying about school. So you guys would know better than I about a possible fall clinic. But I would think that July is kind of a good time to remind people to get a permit because a lot of people have vacation and have days off.
Yeah.
I would see if we could do on Instagram kind of a major push, Kendra, just to
sure.
Getting a permit and see where it goes up.
I think that your point is well taken. I don't know when the hot times are, and everybody has a different schedule. Some kids are playing soccer, some kids are playing baseball or something. Who's doing what? I don't know. We all have different schedules. And oh, Laura, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing this and this and this. And Bruce, what are you doing? Oh, we're going to be all doing this. And everybody trying to coordinate everybody's schedule is impossible.
I think like June school, and maybe we do another one. Do you think we could ever do another one in like September, October?
Well, some people said, well, why don't you do this more often? And I go, number one, it's expensive. And number two, it's a lot of work. But I said, my response is, you can do this 365 days a year with a permit. You can come down here
realistically, Bruce, people are not going to go in the water after October. October, to me, Columbus Day. So to me, that's why I'm saying with a possible fall. Have we ever had a clinic in the fall?
No, we talked about it last year, and that was to do oysters. And
that was exactly.
I think about all sorts of things. I mean, you could say, okay, what we are going to do is we're going to have, for permit holders, we're going to have an event down at the beach, and so that we're going to fire up a grill, and you can cook your oysters, and you can do clams casino, and you can do, that kind of stuff. One thing that troubled me a little bit is people at the clinic were going out and getting a lot of clams, and they were going, well, what do you do with them? I didn't know. And they don't eat them regularly, they don't cook them regularly. What's going to happen to those 2.5 dozen clams that they got in that bag?
I usually put them back when I'm not using them.
Yeah, but it's nice. When we give people ice and then they get home and they go,
that's horrible.
Somebody gets home and says, well, look at all the clams we got. And Mom says, and now what are you going to do?
Are we talking about a cookbook, or was that my list?
Well, we have published recipes.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that you can put on the Facebook page that are recipes.
That's really fun because it's like clams.
So a few things. Just recapping. One, I put the QR code on the highlights of the Instagram months ago, so that's super easy for people. 2, I have through the month been running recipes. There are recipes on the Instagram through the month. I've been doing that. And 3, I was watching some of the people also at the clam clinic taking too many clams, and my feeling is that we should put a cap on the number that they can take from the clinic.
I would agree.
It was too much. They're not going to eat.
It just so happens that we put so many out there. There were just a lot of them, and the idea. You're absolutely right, Kendra. That we ought to say, no more than a dozen per person, or
Yes.
or whatever it is. Set a number. We can talk about that.
Absolutely.
But moving along on the clam clinic, I really want to thank everybody for what they did. We get tremendous support from conservation. JP and those guys were just fabulous. They were really fun. It was a very windy day. I had said to Tom Cord, I said, Tom, you have sandbags? And he said, yes. And it worked out great because we had, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 sandbags. And when the Boy Scouts were there, that was their mission, to fill the sandbags. And we definitely needed sandbags to hold down our tents.
Wow.
Because it was really blowing. Right. And if we didn't, the tents wouldn't have stayed where they are. And so that was...
Did you have a parking issue or not?
Oh, yeah, we always do.
That's what closes the thing.
But that's the irony of it. We don't want to promote it too much.
Well, see, that's what I guess part of the problem is if you promote it in a way where maybe people would carpool more, perhaps.
Yeah, but
that parking lot closes and there's no adjacent parking. They would turn people away.
No, I got turned away last year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you look out there, there are a lot of people out there. I mean, we ran out of rakes. I don't believe that we are lacking. Forget about the parking. We get plenty of people with the parking as it is. However they get there, I don't know. Whether they walk or bike or swim, but there are a lot of people. And
yeah.
I mean, it was really fabulous.
There are also 2 thoughts that we could possibly, I'm just spitballing, just brainstorming between we few, but you could break it down into 2 sessions, the clam clinic, the first hour and a half and the second hour and a half. And when they come in, just have the officer put a little check on their windshield, and those people that are in the first session, and they can only take a dozen per person or whatever our number we decide, and then they have to leave and allow the second to come in. Or we could also speak with the town.
I think it takes away from the spontaneity and the fun of the thing.
You do? Okay.
If you have to tell people you got to wait.
And how do you enforce it?
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you know who belongs to what car?
Just that police. Yeah. The other thing we would just tell them. We would just tell them when they came through the gate. But the other thing we could do is speak with the town about possibly a little shuttle for next year.
Well, we get plenty of people with the parking lot, and I don't want to spend any more money, running a shuttle. I don't even know, I couldn't run it over Fairfield.
You won't go there. You'd have to go to probably the train station. I mean, I'm just trying to think the closest place.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, that was...
Okay, it was just,
I think we can find other ways to get permits promoted.
So overall, I think things went well. I think one problem that we had on the prizes is that we had, I don't know what the actual number was, like 10 prizes. We should have put out 15 shells, and the first 10 people that get the color shells, because we put out the same number of color shells as there were prizes. So we had some people that didn't, some prizes that weren't claimed. And, you know, and usually, I guess it's sort of my fault, usually we do the raffle drawing there, even though people don't have to be present. And but it was really an embarrassment of riches. You know, we had wonderful prizes, raffle prizes, and all the stuff from Cops Island. We had stuff from Nordic Fish. We had the biking.
Yeah, ride Fairfield, the biking.
Yeah. So, you know, we had some wonderful prizes, plus, you know,
no gift cards, you just time it better, that's all.
yeah, so, but, we did on Venmo, getting down to merchandise sales, we collected $240 on Venmo.
Wow.
So I don't know how much cash they took in, you know, when I combined, you mentioned cash before, Kendra, but I don't know.
Yes,
What the total sales were, cash plus Venmo, and it was John Short's wife who used her Venmo account. She cleared it all out, and then everything went to her Venmo, and then he brought the $240 over the other.
Okay, that's good.
So that's
right. Yeah, the email says we collected 3.
And I also learned that, you know, you never get these things right, but the XLs and the medium shirts sold out, and then people asked for kids' shirts, and then for some reason, when we had the shirts printed, I didn't really think one way or another, but the shirt was not printed in the back. It says, "We dig clams." So some people,
So really, some of the shirts were...
well,
Yeah,
initially, all the red shirts, the commissioner's shirts, all said, "We
I
dig
know
clams."
Right,
So anyone who worked there on the crew.
But the red shirts all had "We dig clams." But a lot of people, you know, there's no reason we can't put that on all of the shirts. So we need to get some kid sizes.
I would be happy to take over the merchandise if you'd like. I'm a retail manager of decades. That's what I do.
So we need to sort of figure out, we have to order.
Swag. The swag.
And do we continue to sell them too, at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not eager to go out and buy a whole bunch of inventory now.
No. We can do it right before the next clinic. But I did want to ask about that. I did have someone afterwards say that they wanted to support and wanted a hat and a T-shirt. And how would I go about doing that for people that would like to purchase one now?
You let me know what. Hopefully, we've got the size they want, and then we'll have to go down to the trailer and get it and bring it back to the conservation office. Find out what size and.
Okay. He wants a T-shirt and a hat. So I'm assuming, knowing him, he's an extra large and then a hat. But I'll find out the colors and the details.
Maybe my guess, Kendra, for the comments that I got, we ran out of extra larges. I'm not sure. You know, I'd have to go down to the trailer. But we ran out of extra large and mediums. But I don't know that for a fact until I get down there and paw through the box and see what's there.
And I can try to meet you because I can see, because Joe and I did the inventory before the clinic, and then this way I can see what's left after the clinic and compare the two lists.
Okay, good.
But if you would like, I'm happy to do the merchandise.
And what you counted did not include the 24 that I got. Because
Correct.
and I don't even remember how those broke down. But anyway.
Yeah, the 24 blue that you got were the ones that did not have we did clams on the back.
Right.
The older ones do.
Okay. So, if future merchandise sales online, if you want to get them through the conservation department, I mean, I don't know what the demand is like. I imagine it's not terribly large.
Right.
I don't think that, I don't know whether or not they want to hold the inventory in the conservation department and pull it out.
I wouldn't think they would. But again, I have a shirt, though, that has, I think it says Sasco Beach on it, and the back says we did clams except for the blue ones. It's a good piece if we're trying to promote the thing for permits. So to me, I think if we have people who want the merchandise, we should give it, because I think it's...
I agree.
I'm not denying them. It's just a question of access.
Yeah.
We keep it in the trailer, and if we want to, it doesn't take up a heck of a lot of space. So
no,
I can ask Tim, hey, can we just keep it in the plastic bin in conservation, and then they can sort of keep track, and we can say somebody queries them, they want an extra large. We're out of extra large. We might, if we feel that it's worth it, we could, get 8 extra large, right? And 8 mediums, and then some king size. We could do that in advance.
And I can put that on. I can post that way, and say, limited inventory. Get your, hats and tees now, and then they're walking advertisements when they wear them.
That's around with
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it works.
So I'm going to talk to Tim tomorrow about the Facebook page and the merchandise, keeping it there, because ultimately that's his decision.
Okay, perfect. We're down to literally like one bin. It's not. I think it would be pretty de minimis.
It's not a big space taking up. If you have any receipts or expenses that you won't reimburse, the policy is pretty simple. You have to have written receipts, and you simply scan them or whatever you want to do, or photocopy them and send them in to Tim along with your name and address, and you will get your money back for the town.
Okay, yeah, it sounds great.
If you don't have a written receipt, then you've made a donation.
Right.
Upwellers, John Short is going to be checking as to sort of the status of the upwellers, and then he will get back to us with a date to start them up. The upwellers, just by way of information, they're over by the fuel dock in the marina, and it consists of a pump that pumps water from the channel up into a big bin, and within the bin are buckets with holes in them, or baskets that hold oysters. And the fact that you're filling this constantly, and then the overflow goes back into the channel, so there's a constant circulation of water, which, since the oysters are filter feeders, they get lots and lots and lots of water, and they grow faster. So that's the whole idea of so it enhances the growth of oysters. So once John sort of checked out that all the parts are there and everything else, then he's going to let us know, and then set up a time when we can get a walkthrough to understand how to do it. And the plan that we've been working on with the scouts, you know, sort of explain this, Joe, what our thoughts are there.
Okay, I mean, just so, as we all know, the scouts are very helpful. I think Bruce had mentioned that at the clam clinic, especially because of the tents, they were very helpful for that. And they're very anxious to continue this relationship with us. In fact, when we're talking about the oysters, putting the shells out, they wanted to help us out, but it just didn't work out. But we were thinking about trying to establish a project, maybe an Eagle Scout project, for somebody to get involved from the beginning to the end of this upwelling that you were talking about.
That's fantastic. Joe, maybe we could do a badge.
Well, Joe, I talked about, in other words, I was informed that an Eagle Scout project wouldn't just be running the upwellers. It would have to be something to augment it. So it might be that you put a sign up, like we have down at Ash Creek, that explains what the upwellers are. And it might be that you would complement that with sort of a stand or something that when you took these baskets of oysters out of the upwellers, you had a place to rest them when you clean them, so that it may work easier. And so they would create the sign, they would build this bench or this something or other. I don't know, and once we know more about it, and then we can do a little bit of write-up to the scouts and tell them what the project could entail. A sign and maybe some sort of structure that facilitated or made easier the operation. And ideally what we'd like to do, because there are more scouts than there are of us, is that we'd love to have the Eagle Scout that sort of help organize not all the work, but the operation, because you need to regularly lift those baskets out, power wash them to get all the crud out, and sort of clean them. It's like vacuuming your swimming pool. You know, you need to clean them up, and that's important. That's got to be done regularly, just like you take care of an aquarium or anything else. And but what worked out so well with them, they were at the clam clinic, and they got it because they were busy and because they were occupied and they were serving. They loved to fill a sandbag. They loved to put up the tents. They were did all the chowder serving, and they were having a great time. You know, and so
I think it worked out very well, because I think I was just a little concerned that we wouldn't know what to do with the volunteers, but I think it worked out very nicely that we utilized the volunteers.
They were great.
They were busy the whole time, and they enjoyed it. So I think that we have a new source of people power to work on some of the projects. Bruce, can I have a question with the oysters that are going in the upwells? Are these the ones that are in the bags now at the creek?
In the
marina. So we'll be taking them from that spot to the...
blow them out, yeah.
Okay, because the other reason why I mention it is because, as you know, this is my first stint here. And to have them start in November, where you start taking them off of the collectors and putting them into the bags, and then you're following them a couple of months later where you're putting them into the upwellers, it's really, I think, something these kids would really we can get into, because you can see the development of what their efforts have been. And so that's why I would think that maybe we'd want to get the kids involved in the fall when we have to take them off the collectors and then
see the whole cycle.
Yes, absolutely.
And when you start to talk to people about this, of how this is really farming, how we put the spat collectors out, you get these, I mean, when we talk to these 7th graders in September, October, and you explain to them that these oysters in July were, you needed a microscope to see them, and now, here in October, they're the size of a quarter. That's amazing. And we've got these spat collectors which look like discs on a pole. They're covered in oysters.
That's exciting.
And
that's for these kids to see that and then go through the cycles of putting them in for the winter in one place and then in another place when it's the next summer. I think it's a great education for these kids.
oh, I think
And because the final thing is, I guess, Bruce, is if they're in the upwellers and they mature to a certain size, then we explain where
we put them out in Saskatoon Beach.
Yeah.
So they go to the happy hunting ground. So that's what we want to do with the Boy Scouts. The spat collectors, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Joe and John and Kendra and I got together down at the Conservation Building, and we played in the mud. It wasn't really mud, it was Portland cement, and we mixed this all up into look like pancake batter, and then took these things and they're plastic, these discs, and you spin them around so they get coated, sort of like putting frosting on a cake or something, and till they're all coated, then you put them aside to dry, and then you do the next one. We did 32 of them. And then a few days later, we took all of these cement-covered spat collectors, loaded them into the truck, along with a, we call it a sled, but looks like a little tiny rowboat, you know. But and we put them in there, and then we went down over to Ash Creek, and we went out there at sort of low tide, and we planted them. We stuck them in the water, and so they're there, and you know, it's.
We'll go back in October to retreat.
And it's really nice that the kids from Mill River come in the fall, because we really have something to show them. And when they're fooling under that touch tank, they go crazy. They love it.
Yeah.
And it's really important for us, I think.
Is the date in October yet?
Actually, I think I do. It runs for about 3 weeks.
Oh.
So there's 700 of them.
Okay.
750 or something. But huge. It's all predicated on the tide, because they're all set up to do it at low tide.
Okay.
And then the rain dates. And some days are single session and some are double session. And it's really, you know, we'll get everybody on board, because it's really a fabulous way, because it's really not very complicated, but the way that it works is we have a table, a picnic table, with a touch tank in there, and these kids are divided into groups of about 12 or 15, and they all have different team names, like the mussels or the...
Just like when they came in May.
Yeah. And, you know, they hear the story, get repeated over and over, and then, you know, when I said it 4 or 5 times, you know, you figure out, oh, I can remember some of that. So you give it a try, and if you get stuck, I can bail you out or show tries that are huge or whatever. And it really, it has an interesting effect, certainly on me, is that number one, you see these kids really get excited. And number two, you get comfortable with what's going on. And like Joe said, the whole cycle of farming and everything else, you're talking about it, so you become a believer. And it's a lot of fun. And I think it's very important to let people know that the function of our organization, that we're creating awareness and we're teaching people. Ash Creek shell planting, that happened last weekend, and one of the Cox Island oyster brought over 250 bushels of oysters. And to give you an idea of how much 250 bushels is, this stack of oysters, clams we have here, is not even 100. It's close to 100. So it's 2.5 times that number of shells. And John Short sort of set this up with Jimmy Bloom. And somebody said, well, why are they so generous? And it's easier for me or for Joe to understand it because we spent the day, you know, when we were doing the relay. But these folks, Gary Salcy, Jimmy Bloom, Norm Bloom, this is their life. They've been doing this forever.
Right.
And they work really hard. They are die-hard believers in the environment and taking care of all this stuff. And they truly see what we are doing. They believe that what they believe, their beliefs are being carried out by us. And what we're doing, what we've done in Ash Creek, they think is spectacular. And so when they give us support, and it's one thing to help people out, but when you offer them help or donations or something, and they really use it and thrive with it, it makes you feel good. Right. And the fact that, you know, they did this, they brought one boat down from New Haven. It's a long way. You know, it's 20 miles. And they brought a big boat with shell on it, and then they brought 2 scows, which are 30 feet long, out of Stratford. Mm-hmm. So, and Norm Bloom and Jimmy Bloom, who are the principals of the company, and Gary Salcy, who's the third principal, the 3 of them were there, you know, taking half their day or more to do this for us for free. And, you know, I'm going to send a thank you note to each of them because it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I had hoped to have a thank you card that we could all sign and stuff, but, you know, I haven't been. But this, when you see...
Maybe we could thank them also on our site.
So these are the shells. I think because at first they weren't sure that they were going to be able to bring the scows all the way in because of the water depth and what the scows required in their draft. And so the plan was that they were going to put the shells out in the morning. In the afternoon, we, you know, whoever was going to have to go down there and rake them. And I'm going, oh, you think raking gravel is hard? Try raking shell.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really a lot of work. And John emailed me and said, you know, we were able to get the scouts in there and drop the shell. And then Dave Carey from the Bureau of Agriculture, I had applied for a permit to plant shell, but I hadn't heard, and I wanted to make sure that it was all. And I had to give him a longitude, latitude coordinate of where we're going to be doing it, and I had just gone onto my navigation software and picked out a spot, you know.
Right.
And he said, well, you can't go south of your coordinates. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't pick those coordinates especially. And so I sent them off to John. I sent him a picture, gave him longitude and latitude. They put that on their plotter, but it was all, they couldn't go south of there, and they weren't planning to go south, so it wasn't a problem. But it was the generosity that we've gotten from those guys. When I went to get the gift basket for the clam clinic down in Norwalk, Jimmy's mom was there, and she apologized for not having it ready. And I said, don't worry. And she put this beautiful basket together, and then she said, well, Jimmy wanted to make this extra special, so I put a gift card here for $100. I mean, you know, on top of the gift basket. So we separated the two out. I mean, and if you were to meet Jimmy, you would think that he has known you all of his life, really. You know, we saw him at like quarter to 7 in the morning. He said, oh, hi, how are you doing? Everything is, he's just and he's a young guy, you know.
Which is good, so it means he'll be around for a while.
And Gary Salcy is one of the partners, and he's the guy that drove the boat, you know, when Joe and I were
very accommodating.
And just really, really nice people. We're lucky. But, you know, we have to keep doing what we're doing because that's why they do it.
Exactly.
And so we covered the newsletter, and we covered Facebook. I think we've all set there. Any other information? You know, I think we're...
I have I don't know if this falls under new business or events. The Pasquinot Conservancy is having an Onion Fest, this annual Onion Fest, October 3rd, at the Pequot Library. It's a big deal. Every year we have more and more people. We around 4 o'clock and around till dusk when we have an onion drop down, a fake onion. But it's become sort of like, what do you call it, like a milestone event. People expect it. They ask about it. The date is October 3rd. The rain date is the 17th. And I was thinking it would be nice to have, I'm inviting us to have a table there, information table, anything we want. We could serve clam there. It has onions in it, though. It has to have onions. That's the only caveat.
Right. So I think the Southport, the
Southport onion.
The onion capital.
Yes.
Prevent scurvy.
Yeah, but we're known for the Southport Globe onion. We're bringing it back as an heirloom. We're growing it again, and it's a delicious onion. But we have seeds, and you know, we had local businesses gave us. We had an onion martini, gifts and martini with onions, but we had onion rings. We had stuff from Mama Chow, but we got donations of food, Rural Canyon, and onion soup. So I just thought it would be nice. I mean, October is not seasonally advantageous, but there's still planning to be done.
Well, we're going to get them excited about next year.
Next time maybe, because you're not going to get a permit.
I mean, that would be a nice thing for some of these pictures you have.
I just wanted to invite, a little table there, or whatever you guys, if you wanted to hand out shout or hand out swag or hand out.
Well, I think one of the things that
I just
we want to point out is that we're multifaceted.
Yeah.
In other words, we're part of the community. We're directly involved in educating with the estuary program, which involves 800 seventh graders. And we do this it's a lot of time. It's probably 20 hours of volunteer time. It's a lot of time. We do this, all the stuff that we just described, with the planting of the shell and so on and so forth, that has really very little to do with going and digging for clams or oysters in Zasco Beach. So that there's a lot that we're doing for the environment, there's a lot that we're doing to create awareness and education, and there's a lot that we're doing for the community to provide a resource, i.e. shellfish beds that are carefully monitored. So, we can, taking up on your idea, we can have clam chowder, or
I think anything with, I think clam related that has onions in it. So you could do.
Well,
Casino. Clams casino.
Oh, yeah.
we did the clam chowder.
I think clam chowder is probably the easiest to do.
Not
I think
really.
it should
Yeah,
probably-
true.
I think you get a restaurant to donate clams casino.
I'm
Clams casino.
I agree. Bacon, is that the bacon one?
No,
It has breadcrumbs.
it's mostly garlic and butter.
I like it. Yeah, I like those.
It's not, I don't think I guess you could put onions in it. I don't think so.
I think chowder does make the most sense.
Chowder would be the easiest.
I have to hop off in a second, but just, is there anything else, Bruce, to wrap up? And Laura, I also agree. I think that all of this has the potential to grow. I mean, I worked at the Chamber of Commerce, and even the clam clinic, we can invite vendors to come and, no charge to us, but, so it could grow and grow. So it's great.
I want to keep the focus of what we do at the clam clinic on us. In other words.
Right.
Okay.
Because we have had some of the Bureau of Agriculture people there because they're talking about Bureau of Agriculture stuff. And we have had Middle River Wetlands, John Tully has been there, set up a table. He didn't this year, his son had a graduation party. But, we're partnered with Middle River. And that's, to me, really important. And
yeah, I agree.
That is a way that if we can touch 750 kids and we can get 1%, that would be profound.
But I'm just talking about collaboration. You guys at another event.
Yeah, no, I think that's
I'm
great.
not talking about us being at the clam clinic. I'm talking about you being at the.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to get the tie into the animal.
Yeah, there might be. It might be a stretch, but I think it's a good time. October, you're probably not.
It's easy to put onions in New England clam chowder.
Yeah. Can you get a permit for 2027 in October?
Permit under the calendar.
You can get them in
December. Okay.
But I tend to go mostly, I'm not a clam guy, I just go mostly for oysters. Well, yeah, you can't get oysters, you're not.
No, I guess what I'm saying is you're not going to sign up then and there for a permit. That's the only negative. But to educate and inform and create.
Well, if somebody likes oysters.
They might. Yeah.
Of course they would. I mean.
Yeah.
I've gone oystering in December and January and.
Yeah.
Just put on a pair of waders and.
Yeah.
Wade out there.
But I think that most people don't. I only go clamming, and I'll go from May to October. But nonetheless, I think it's, I've never gone for oysters. But again, it's awareness, and I think that having a thing at the fair, so.
We get hundreds of people, families.
I think it's something we should, it's not, I guess making the child is probably the biggest thing. And you sit at the table and you put these pictures up and stuff. And
I think we should have some food there, something, a snack.
No, that's not hard to do.
No?
I think the chatter's the best idea, so.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn? I think she was.
Yes,
I move to adjourn.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Thank
you.
you. We made it work.
Thank you for patching me in.
Okay, we did it.
Have a great July, guys.
Okay, thank you.
You too.